Hi everyone, this is Ethan Dre from B Creative Studios, and today we're going to be completing a Photoshop tutorial that teaches you how to use the spot healing brush. Now as you can see, we have two documents here, one on the left, one on the right, and what I did was I cleaned up my ugly mug with this spot healing brush, kind of taking away all of the blemishes and imperfections that we have here. This tool is obviously used often as far as advertisements and marketing goes. All those models and celebrities you see out there clearly can't have these clean, pretty, smooth faces all the time. So this is a tool that is often used to fix those up before they go out into the advertisements. Okay, so we're just going to go to our original document here, and I'm going to add a layer. Alright, we're going to name this layer Spot Healing, and we're going to go over to our toolbox and we're going to click on what looks like a band-aid, which makes sense. Okay, so we have Spot Healing Brush Tool. Just make sure that you don't have any of the other tools selected. We will be reaching those tutorials later on. Alright, keyboard shortcut J as well. Alright, similar to our other tools, we have our settings up here. When we drop down our brush tool in the top left, we can control the size of the brush or the diameter, the hardness, which is more or less like the flow, so that's going to be the opacity or the transparency of your individual brush strokes. Keep in mind, the lower the flow, the less hard edge you're going to have whenever you're painting with this brush. Spacing obviously is going to be how far apart each brush stroke is, and then we have an angle and round this to our brush stroke. Alright, so we're going to close that up. We're going to go with normal mode, and we're going to start getting into these different settings as far as the type of spot healing brush we're using. Okay, first you'll notice that we have proximity match. Now what proximity match does is it more or less uses the pixels around the brush edge and it finds an area to patch up. Alright, so making sure that we have our spot healing layer selected and it's empty, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Sorry if I scare you with this photo. And I'm going to increase the size of that a little bit, increase the size of that brush a little bit. So then I'm just going to click once. So notice once I click once, it selects the pixels from around our brush and it blends them together inside, making a patch. So we still have this line here on the forehead, so more or less it's just blending or patching where we're painting. Okay, so along with proximity match we have create texture, and as we're going through the spot healing brush tutorial, please make sure that you have sample all layers checked. That way we're placing our pixels on our empty layer and not our background layer. So with create texture, what this is going to do is wherever we're sampling or painting, it's taking those pixels and it is literally creating a texture. So as far as retouching goes and refinishing photos and portraits, you don't really want a ton of texture with this because it's going to make it look a little bit grainy. So we're going to move on from create texture and we're going to go to content aware. Now content aware seamlessly fills the selection that you paint. Alright, so it blends it a lot smoother than create texture, and it doesn't really try to patch over top of the area like proximity match does. So as we start to use this content aware, and let's make our diameter of our brush a little bit smaller, that way we're not going to start sampling hair on accident. Now if you ever do get in the situation where you move too close to hair, as you can see, it's going to start kind of trying to blend the hair as well. Alright, so we're just going to go through a little bit at a time. Remember, the smaller the diameter of your brush, the more accurately you can get those small blemishes and imperfections. Alright, and just kind of move through your portrait and get rid of anything that you feel like is a distraction or is making the skin look faded, old, or aged. Alright, so once we zoom out, we can go ahead and hide that layer. And as you can see, it's already a world of difference, and we haven't really delved into all the details here. Alright, so for all you party people out there that want to retouch your images or clean up your photos before you send them out or sell them or just upload them, now you have the spot healing brush in your back pocket to use, and the different types that we went over. So we went over proximity match, which is more or less going to sample those pixels around our brush and patch over the area that we're brushing. We went over create texture, which is going to sample wherever we're brushing, and it's going to create a texture from those pixels. We also went over content aware. Now, content aware is, in my opinion, the best because it seamlessly fills the selection wherever you're painting. So those are all the different settings or types that we can use with the spot healing brush. And it is very good for cleaning up, removing imperfections, or removing blemishes from portraits or any other type of photo if you have something in the photo that doesn't really belong. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the spot healing brush and retouching and refinishing photos. This is Ethan Dre with Be Creative Studios, and please check back for our latest tutorials.